Okay, so now it would be a good idea to just reaffirm some of our skeletal landmarks, just so that we know where we are, because things can get confusing pretty quickly when you're looking at this stuff. So there's our collarbone, clavicle. Here's a schematic cylinder representing the humerus. This is the sternum, pit of the neck, and here we've got the arch of the rib cage. And then you can see that a good tip is, if you look at this area here between the hips and the rib cage, the belly button's largely in the center. Just above that, you're nearly always seeing quite a lot of the egg of the rib cage, the egg-like form. And here, because the figure's in kind of strained kind of action, you're seeing quite a lot of the ribs themselves. So you're going to find that in certain poses the muscles will dominate, in certain other poses it's going to be the skeleton that dominates. So you see here on this side you've got a kind of stretch, and this side's still a stretch but a little bit more compression, I guess. So some of the fleshier forms are starting to predominate. So what we'll look at next is the serratus anterior muscles. Going to take away a wee bit of this pec so that we can see it. Now, a good rough guide for looking, when you're looking for the serratus anterior muscles, is to imagine like a 45 degree line coming out of the pit of the neck. If you wrap it around the rib cage, it will give you roughly where the digits of the serratus muscle end. And you can see on this figure they're very substantial indeed. And I think when people are first starting, they're often going to be mistaking these for ribs. These digitations interweave with another group of digits, which is the ends of the external oblique. And so, with a bit of practice, once you have done this a few times and you get a handle on it, it's a bit of a nightmare at first, but after that it becomes quite an enjoyable area to draw, because you start seeing this blending between the rib cage cartilage, the ribs themselves, bits of the external oblique, and the serratus anterior. Okay, so let's look at this, all of this in more detail. So beginning at this knee, I'm going to reaffirm this indication of the common tendon of the quadricep muscles. And this is what is coming from the patella. Now I'm going to edit bits of this drawing as I go. David has indicated some of the skin fatty tissue on top of the patella, which I'm not going to put in quite so much in this version, just for the sake of clarity. And I'm going to make some things a bit more explicit than they are in his drawing. So this is the tendon, the patella tendon connecting to the head of the tibia, which has this distinct kind of form. And on the inside, this sharp bony form is really rounded out by the form of the sartorius and the gracilis, which make their way around the leg and finish at that point. And they create this kind of really nice, almost seamless shift into the plane of the tibia itself. On the outside, we're seeing a few things. This dead straight line is usually the indication of the tendon of the biceps femoris coming from the back, and that going into the head of the fibula. And then we've got this contour of the vastus lateralis overlapping that. Now, we should look back up to the anterior superior iliac spine and the crest of the pelvis, and there try and find the vector of the sartorius muscle going to the inside of the knee. What you want to look for is this little break in the contour on the inside of the leg, because that's telling you that that's where the sartorius is going around. It's being hidden from view a bit by the fullness of the muscle here, but it's making its way round to the inside of the knee. And this gives you one border of the inside section of the quad, the vastus medialis. Which is also this ubiquitous kind of teardrop shape that we see so often in the body. And then just below the anterior superior iliac spine, so not from it, as is often, it's a common mistake to do this, it's about 2 fingers below it we get the origin of the rectus femoris, which is the muscle right on the front of the thigh. On the outside of the leg, at the level of the great trochanter, we've got the vastus lateralis coming around like that. Here we're seeing a bit of the gluteus medius. So let's try and do the same on the other side. Common tendon above the kneecap. The kneecap itself connecting to the plateau of the tibia. Back up to the anterior superior iliac spine, finding a diagonal from here round to the inside of the knee.